We survived 2020.
We're 2021. Wow. Can you
Yeah,
believe
and
that?
it's only gonna get worse from here. Yay! It's only gonna get worse. Woo! No, I'm
It's
kidding.
already getting worse, right?
That's.
Because I mean, like today,
I
we're
mean,
recording
there's a
this
few
on
things
January
going on.
7th.
Yeah, hopefully put it up tomorrow and something happens tomorrow. But it's not necessarily what happens from now because, to be quite frank, it's more of a reflection of the consequences and the depravity our world has gone to, as
Yep.
opposed to saying I'm worried that nukes are going to start flying in the sky, because it looks like the Democrats and in conjunction with some of the Republicans, they got things under control. So we don't have to worry about the United States blowing the world up. That's a good thing. It's always
Yep.
good to wake up in the morning and be like, hey, we're going to have a year, a year. We're going to have at least a year right now. 2021 is going to be a thing, right? But where have we been? Vinny, I want to publicly apologize to you right now. Okay, this is
No,
a
come
public
on.
apology.
Why?
No.
Why?
Because Vinny was always ready. He has the setup
Ah.
going. He's always punctual, right? And
Hey.
this baby face piece of shit is always like, oh, I gotta cancel work stuff. Oh, I gotta do this. Oh, I don't feel like it. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm a
But to
little
be
bitch,
honest,
right? All these.
I wish I could cancel. I wish I could cancel and say like I have work.
Oh, come on. Oh, don't say that.
I'm just kidding, but
Oh my
honestly,
god.
like it's totally comprehensible. Like, come on, man, you gotta pay the bills.
Yeah.
This we do for fun, and in the end, like,
We do this
it
for
is what
fun.
it
We
is,
do this
right?
for you guys for your fun. So you
Yeah,
guys in fun are less than me eating. As much as I love you guys, as much as I love Vinny, I gotta make money.
and I think it's
And
mutual. I don't think nobody
yeah,
loves us that much to quit their
yeah,
jobs.
they're not gonna. Yeah, you don't quit. You shouldn't quit your job to listen to two guys speaking in English if you're in Brazil. Like that's not
True.
a good. That's not a good use of your time. And if you're a first-time English speaker jumping into this podcast, hi, I'm Jeff, or AKA Jeffy. That's Vinny. That guy over there is Vinny, and we're two really cute and beautiful men who are who are talking to you about stuff. That's what our podcast is all about. Is us talking. Is two great friends talking about great things, such as this great country known as the United States of America.
Oh,
Okay, we
damn.
don't live in the U.S. We live in Canada. Oh, thank God. Thank God we live
Do you
in
know? Do you
Canada.
know something
Jesus.
that like in this gap, I started working for CBCS, like the Brazilian Secrets of Counter Strike. So I started playing like much more like
Oh,
FPS
damn.
games. Yeah, and then it's
Mhm.
crazy because I started like playing with like people from North America, and it's insane how like xenophobic they are when I speak in English because I'm pretty sure I have a certain type of accent, and when I open my mouth, they go like, "Yo, go back to Mexico, build the wall," and you have no idea how happy I am when I say, "Dude, I don't live in the United States." They're like, "Oh, really? I know that. Where do you live?" And like, "I live in Canada." They go like, "Oh, whatever, dude." And like, yes, yes. So that's like the
You should
best
tell
moment.
them, hey, we're gonna build a wall to keep you guys out,
It's
right?
true. It's gonna,
Yeah,
yeah. Can you imagine that?
it's just we can build that wall. I'm happy to build that wall. You know, I'll pay extra taxes to build that wall. That's good,
It's
right?
insane, yeah.
So,
But
but like 2020 was fun. Like, you know, in the very masochistic way, it was very fun. But we made it through, and I think both of us have improved significantly since the start of that podcast. That we launched a podcast early 2020 as a beta, and
yeah,
then we did a couple episodes on this channel. We did a couple more episodes off of on Twitch, and we're just gonna try. One of the biggest, I think, one of the biggest faults. It was kind of like, again, this is another public apology to Vinny. Here we go. This is apology day. It's apology day to Vinny day from Jeff. Is that we might have overcomplicated a few things that made it harder also for us to do this podcast. So what we're going to do later, eventually, is, well, actually not eventually. Now we're starting to do this. Now is we're just gonna have more fun talking to you guys and talking to each other. I think that's the spirit of why the podcast even formulated in the first place. Because during the high point of the bug of the mysterious thing, if you say that thing, the YouTube gods will punish you. So do not say the
true.
words that starts with the C and ends with the nine.
Hmm.
Don't say those words, okay? Don't say those words. If we say those words, that's it. The channel's done. That's it.
We're
If
gone.
you say those words, the YouTube police come to your house, take you to the gulags, and you have to duel somebody to leave the gulags, and then you can jump back into the game.
And I'm
If
the
you don't jump back into the
worst.
game, Yeah, you don't jump back to the game. Your team yells at you, right? So
True.
yeah, yeah.
It's funny because
So
you mentioned like Call of Duty.
mhm.
Like it's insane how that game stressed me out. Like I like to
that
play the multiplayer. The multiplayer is one of the best gaming experiences ever. But like Warzone, like the battle royale thing, I don't know why people play video games to get a gun hidden, get behind, like like inside a house, go to the second floor, stay under like something or like behind a freaking like I don't know wardrobe, and wait. That's not playing like that. I don't know, like so that game stresses me out. Like multiplayer, 10 out of 10. Warzone, 1 out of 10.
Oh, geez. I mean, look, we don't need to play battle royale anymore. 2021 is off to a battle royale right now,
We're gonna leave one.
right? For those of you guys don't know, for those of you guys who do not know, and you're not on Twitter, you're living under a rock, and you just somehow happen to stumble into these two beautiful Canadians talking about random stuff. There was a mob of Trump supporters that basically attacked Capitol Hill in the glorious country of United States of America because
Yeah,
they were going to confirm Joe Biden for winning against Trump in the 2020 election. And when we talk about mob, it's not like 10, 20 people. It was like a couple hundred thousand, no, maybe in the thousands for sure, right? I don't think they ever counted how many people were there, but
yeah,
certainly enough to overwhelm the police, overtake the Capitol Hill, force all the legislators to evacuate. And then insult to injury, they took over the actual building that has hundreds of year history, that is almost a sacred site to modern day democracy, and they just started doing selfies, casually doing this. And there's a multiple parts of this, right? Like what we want to do is kind of talk about a little bit current events, what we both think, but objectively speaking, there was no incidents similar to that of actual protesters during the Black Lives Matter movement.
yeah.
It was a complete contrast. The police, um, I mean, four people. It was concluded today that four people were shot. I think one was fatally shot.
No, 4 people
Maybe
died
this
total.
four people fatally shot. Okay,
Yeah,
so that's
yeah,
good confirmation. Thank you for. And there was an update. So four people total died. But given the level, right? Given the level of violence incited, and given the situation, it was kind of unexpected that there was very little casualties. But then it was, I'm saying that half sarcastically, but if you look at the complexion of the people that are attacking Capitol Hill, you have a little bit of understanding of where we're going with this. So, Vinny, first, let's get your thoughts. What do you think? What does this mean? Is this something that will last with us for a long time, or is it something temporary? And what do you think the significance of these moments are in the
uh,
last few days?
I think like that's the portrait of like what you call white privilege, because like it's insane like how you see that. It was confirmed that they found like a backpack with 9 Molotov. Like it's confirmed that they found like explosives in people's bag. It's confirmed that there was a guy like with people like with guns in their like I don't know how to say that word holster. I don't know, like on the like on the like they were carrying guns. And can you
Right.
imagine
Open
that
openly
in
carrying, which is actually, I don't think it's allowed in DC to open
I
carry
don't
like that.
know,
You can't
it's
open carry a
insane.
rifle in Washington DC.
No, I don't think it was a rifle, but it was like a gun, like a pistol or a revolver. I don't
Okay.
know, but it's still like,
Jesus.
can you imagine if it was like a Black Lives Matter protest and then they like even suspect someone was carrying that? It would be like that thing, like the selfie part. I don't even want to mention because I can see like in a couple years,
Right.
like do you know our history books when we have like Canadian history, like world history? There's
Yes.
those pictures are
Yeah.
gonna be there, like how these people like stormed inside that like the capital and took pictures, and like there's like a footage
And
of like
one
a
of them was
woman.
sitting at Nancy Pelosi's desk. She's the
Yeah,
Speaker of the House.
yeah,
Like they
like
just stormed in, sat at her desk, took her stuff. Apparently, they took one of her like letters and just kept it. They took her stuff, and they were taking out the podium that people spoke on,
oh, that
and then they
picture of the
started.
podium. The guy was even waving. Did you see that? He was like,
Yeah,
eh,
it's
so
very
that
nonchalant. Like,
yeah, something
but
that
what do you think
the
about
only
the long
thing
term impact of this?
yeah, I don't think it's like it's gonna. I think it's like the end of an era because like you cannot say that. Oh my god, that escalated quickly. It took 4 years to get to there. or even more than 4 years, right? Because Trump was
Yeah.
even like happening before that. So it took a while to get to that point. But it's funny because like uh, it was from the people that I least expected. Because like pros Trump, like they were happy most of the time. They get like one defeat, they go crazy. Like, can you imagine all
Yeah.
those people that are like against Trump? They like suffer for 4 years or even 5 before that, and then so that's my point. Like, I think it's like we're closing a chapter. I don't. I think there's still gonna be people like talking shit and stuff because honestly, like nowadays with like social media for me is like a two-way street. Like you give a lot of information, but you
Mhm.
receive a lot of information. And I don't know, like my biggest name that comes in mind is Bolsonaro, like Brazilian president. That he says so many things that people actually, because he repeats so much, people start believing. And then it's like the earth is flat, like there's like the election was not
The
fair,
vaccine
even
turns you
though
into an alligator.
into alligators, like dude. And it like I don't know if you know, like today Butantan vaccine was confirmed 100% effectiveness on like grave cases, like serious cases, and like 78% effectiveness on like weak cases. So
Wild cases. Right.
yeah, that's a good thing. And then because he repeats this so much, like I have like family groups saying like, oh, I'm not taking the vaccine. And I'm like, why? Oh, it's like the president said so. I'm like, dude, if you
Well,
repeat a
you guys
lie
are
so
not even
many
gonna get
times, it
the
won't become
vaccine.
real.
He doesn't even have syringes right now. He doesn't
I
even
don't
have
know.
syringes right now. You guys aren't even gonna get the vaccine. So it's kind of nutty there in Brazil too. But that's almost like a different topic because that's the next step, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
once Trump is out, right? Once Trump is out, who's left on the board that's like on a large G8 nation or G20 nation that has such a big impact on the world and who's an absolute fucking popularist idiot, right? Like, and
True.
to be quite frank, the only one that's left that's like noteworthy right now, like at least to our lives, maybe there's somebody in a different country that is experiencing something similar to this.
Yeah.
But that's noteworthy from a global scale is Bolsonaro. He has control basically over what happens to the Amazon in many ways, right? He has control over 200 million people, right? Almost 300 million people, depending on how you want to round up, right? And it's unsettling, but like you said, I partially agree with you that it is like an end of an era. But what
Yeah.
scares me is ideology doesn't just disappear.
Oh
You
yeah.
remember like last few years, I think 2 years ago at this point, right? That's 2021. So maybe I'll even say 3 years. Remember those people with tiki torches that were basically marching as neo Nazis?
Oh yeah. There's a video of a guy
Oh,
getting punched on the face, right? The guy just like
yeah, but not
insta
just
go
that.
to sleep.
But
Yeah.
they literally were marching in. I think this is Middle America. I gotta check my sources before I make any other statements. But basically, there's like this resurgence of this movement that was basically almost destroyed the world in the 40s, right? 30s and 40s is how long it lingered, and that was now 80 years ago. The ideology
Yeah.
80 years ago somehow resonated and continued to resonate, and then
hmm
basically emerged. And I think this form of popularism with I don't know what you can call Trumpism because it takes a lot of the worst and best parts of different right wing ideology and then it popularizes it to where people like they feel special. Right?
Yeah.
They feel like they're on part of a special team. We're gonna make America great again. Right? That's their thought process on this.
hmm
And to me, that becomes scary. Like, let's say in the next 8 years, we have relatively established peace. There's a lot of problem with the establishment. I'm like, I'm actually, in by Canadian standards, I'm actually leaning more right because I'm more economical, right? I'm not
hmm
like all about like, hey, like give everybody money, right? I'm not about
Yeah.
equality of outcome. But then again, though, like like that's compared to the rest of the world, that's actually I'm like a hippie, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, legalize the same sex marriage, whatever, right? Yeah, you can transition, just don't bother me, right? That's basically for
Yeah.
everything else, I'm like that guy. And as somebody who everything else is associated a bit more on the right side, I'm looking at this as I'm like, this is not what the conversation should have been about in the last 4 years or the last 5 years. It should always have been, economic policies. Really, that's what politics should actually revolve around. But a lot of these moral things are going to linger. A lot of these moral debates, I think, are going to still linger. But if we're going to learn anything for people who are outside of the United States, for those of you guys in Brazil, those of you guys who are listening to this in other countries, we got to look at a, 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 du- uh, a stupid person learns from their own mistakes. A wise person learns from other people's, right? I
Yep.
mean, we all make stupid mistakes, but we want to learn from other people's mistakes as much as possible. That's why there's an education system. And what we can learn from this situation in the United States is how important it is to keep yourself educated. That's my number one takeaway is that there should be a desire to be informed, to be educated, and not jump on any bandwagon, right? Like, imagine how stupid you look. And all those people, they made 60 arrests today. I think they're going to make a lot more than that.
Oh yeah, the
Um,
FBI is on it. Did you heard about that? Like,
guys on it right now?
yeah, FBI posted on Twitter like, if you guys have images that help identify people that stormed the Capitol, send us. And CNN do like a huge document showing your
Oh,
faces, like
they had
social
everybody.
profiles.
Oh my gosh. Imagine trying to get a job
After
being
that,
that guy who sat in Nancy Pelosi's. You
oh
have to basically find somebody who is alt-right as an employer to hire you. Otherwise, nobody wants that smoke. You don't want
yeah,
that smoke. This guy was crazy enough to storm Capitol Hill and then sat in the chair, get photographed, and then still be proud about it and bragging about it and stole something from her desk. So
yeah.
I take away from this, and I want to know what your biggest lesson learned from this entire experience in the last 4.5 years, as well as yesterday and the day before.
Hmm.
What was like? My biggest takeaway is being educated and being goal oriented is more important than ever. And it doesn't even have to be big ambitions or getting a PhD. It's just have enough self awareness to know that, hey, if I'm not a shitty person, I shouldn't do this.
Yeah, like is exactly what you said. Like, you mentioned like right and left. For me, we lived in a couple of years that there was like not even a dialogue. Like, oh, you're right
Hmm.
center, you're like left center. Like, I don't care. Like, it's far right, far left. It doesn't matter. If you're not my side, I don't talk to you. I don't like. I don't want to hear you. So dialogue became like impossible. Because it's funny. Because in Brazil,
Yeah.
like my biggest example is Brazil. Because I have like background there. So it's like people eliminates like the other side, and that's not how you grow. Like, I can lean more to right, I can lean more to the left, I don't care, but like I cannot eliminate it. So the point is like educating is always good because there's good things on both sides, especially because like with transition power there's like transition sometimes the right side is on the power, left side is on power, sometimes it changes. And in Brazil, like we have things that people like they're still talking about, like, oh, the government is not working well. Oh, but you remember that government? Yeah, I do. But like, let it go. Like, let's focus on this one. So it's something that people like avoid talking. Like, they become like rivals. They become like enemies. And I think like what happened yesterday was a good example. Like how everybody like started to recover their humanity. Because like I don't care like if you support Trump or you believe him, you have your right to do whatever you want. But like even people, even the Republicans are saying like, what the hell are we doing? So like I don't know if you like, a lot of people like resigns and like, no, we cannot stay even though we have like
White House
14
staffers,
days. Yeah, yeah, we
they
have like
lost two staffers. But a lot of Republicans are also like they want to they basically they're going to jump on this. I mean, the National Guards couldn't have been deployed as fast if there was Republican resistance. So the
yeah.
National Guard is now deployed from now until the inauguration day. They're going to be there, so this is good. I mean, at least there's some kind of arm. Like there's an army there, right? Sorry, I
Hmm.
interrupted you. Go on.
No, and that's the point, like, because they saw that it's jeopardizing everyone. Like, it's not more
Mm.
like, oh, we're defending the right side, we're defending the left side. You're attacking everyone. So in the end, like, I read news that, oh, people are resigning, people are doing this. Like, even senators, they were like asking for like to check if there was like an error with the votes. They said like, no, after this, we cannot support this anymore. It's like they crossed the line, and that's the perfect final chapter for it. And I don't know, like I see
Yeah.
that a lot of people, I don't know, I don't want to be talking about Brazil that much because I know it's like it's an English podcast, but it's funny
No,
because
but you know what? It's
yeah,
no, it's good to relate to Brazil because a large portion of our audience are from Brazil, right?
yeah,
So,
because like
but
Bolsonaro
before
said
we go to
today,
Brazil, real quick,
sure.
'cause I want to connect this to Brazil. I do want to propose a question for you, and I want you to kind of
Oh,
expand upon it. All
I didn't
right.
know we have a
So
questionnaire, but let's go.
this is what I admire about. I have a lot of friends in the United States. When I was I play World of Warcraft and a lot of different video games that require socialization. And some of the people I spend the most time with are from the U.S. And I've hung out with people from both sides of the aisle, hardcore Republicans, Middle
Yeah.
America, like corn raised bread. I've been lifting baby bowls since he was 6 years old, that kind of guy, right? And then I also hung out with Arab Americans. I also hung out with, literally right now, one of my best friends in this game is he's legitly this Northern California chill bro that is like a very successful engineer. And I'm like, well, this is cool. Like talking to him is like talking to another Canadian person, right? And he's
Yeah.
just so chill about it. And what I found out from knowing all these things, and this is kind of weird, is that being Canadian, you learn to have conversations with anybody,
Mhm.
even though if they don't agree with you, right? If they don't agree with you, or like you can find a common ground somewhere, right? I disagree with this middle America friend I have about abortion because I feel like her body, her choice, and he feels like he's very religious, so he feels like he goes for the word, right? But
Yep.
we can agree to play together and accept each other. And then we're like, okay, in real life, what do we both like? We both like cool guns and cool weaponry, right? So it's like, okay, so that we can find some common ground, right? We like World of Warcraft, we like these things. And across all these friends I interacted with, the commonality I have for American people is that they're very, very proud of their country. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
they're proud of the democracy that they built. They're proud of the contributions the United States of America have made to the world. And as somebody who's both Chinese and Canadian and, honorary Brazilian, who's, kind of traveled quite a bit
By
of the world
heart.
and know quite a bit of history. Yeah, for sure, 100%. The United States is the greatest empire the world has ever seen in terms of actual power. Right? No empire on earth has ever had as much economical, political, and military influence on the world. If they wanted to, they can blow this world up 100 times, and they still have nukes left, right? Like both them and Russia, they have that kind of power, and they're exercising it with such great restraint. And we're born in such an era that we love critiquing everything that happened before us. We love critiquing that this is not the right way. For fuck's sake, we're critiquing the existence of bread because gluten is bad for you, right?
No.
We like we're questioning omnivore diets. Well, one thing that I know for sure, Americans will always try to protect, the majority of Americans, is this institution and this notion of their democracy. I can trust that for majority of Americans, like 99% of them, because this is their indoctrination and this is what they're proud of. This is what they fight for. This is what they'll fight and die for. And you can kind of see that with the reactions, even though there's so much at stake for the Republican Party, there's still senators literally crossing the aisle, right?
Yeah.
Just to basically stop this because the line has been crossed. Democracy has been undermined, and this is something this is the whole point of them doing this. Both sides always thought the other side is undermining democracy by proposing their own ideology, right? This is 95% of the argument in politics. And yet, there's one moment you can see there's people in the middle. Obviously, there's people who will have more complicated relations in the party. You can't really blame people for doing self-preservation first, but at the same time, it's always refreshing to know that there is a line that people shouldn't cross, and there is a line that people aren't willing to cross. Now,
Yeah.
I'm looping this back to Brazil. I need to throw this to Brazil because this alligator boss man that basically cannot tell. Listen, I know there's still so many supporters of him. All right, and I always get critique whenever I make a reference to this president by one person or the other. Right?
It, yeah.
I'm very nice about this, but I couldn't give a less of like this much if you're like saying I'm never gonna watch you. You got the wrong facts. I don't care. There's an
True.
objective stupidness about him, and he has to be stopped. I'm sorry. There's an objective at what eventually there's an objective level where you're like, hey, this is probably not good for the world, right? He's not
Yeah.
even good for your economy. You think your dollars, you think the Brazilian dollar is ever going to recover to 1 to 2 with the Canadian dollar? Good luck.
Yes.
Good luck getting 1 to 4. Reais, reais, reais are going to
I
be
knew it.
basically
I knew-
have like you're gonna lose that currency is gonna keep on deteriorating. You think you can catch up to China? You think you can catch up to Canada? You think you can catch up to all these other countries in confidence after Bolsonaro? It's gonna be very difficult. With Bolsonaro, what are you gonna do? You're gonna invade Bolivia to get your currency up? That's not happening, right? You think you can invade another country? You're not the United States. So he has done so much generational damage in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I have to throw it to you, Vinny. For Brazilians, do you think for Brazilians there is that line that you won't cross, just like the United people in the United States?
To be honest, like I think there is a line, but I cannot say like democracy is something that we're gonna like fight for until because like we're a lot of people are against like voting because we're like it's mandatory. It's not optional.
Yeah.
So as soon as you hit like 18, you have to vote every year or like every election. But I think like what bothers me the most is like how people get blindsided. Like I don't care like oh it's gonna happen the same thing in 2022 in Brazil. Like maybe, but like shouldn't we avoid that? So I think like Brazilians are gonna try to defend themselves like these things, but like, I don't know. I don't even think we're gonna get to the point of like rioting and invading places because like I don't know, like Bolsonaro has a lot of people, but like not many people have guns in Brazil. Like I don't
Mm,
think the police. I think like the police is different in the U.S. than in Brazil, but I think they might respond differently if they see like people rioting against them, like pushing them and like punching them, like in screaming. So I think it's gonna be a little bit different, but I don't know. Like I don't say I wouldn't say that democracy is something that oh we're gonna defend with our lives because I think we're living in the moment that I don't know. Like I have parents, they're like, oh, but Bolsonaro said this, and then they're like, it's fake, and then they go like no he said this and like, I know there's no proof there's no evidence and then they go like oh yeah I'm not taking the vaccine and like but you made your children took vaccines the whole life and now because Bolsonaro is against you're against like yeah like so it's kind of like a brainwash that it got so crazy that this part scares me because I don't mind like it's fine like it's exactly what you said like it's fine that you have friends that disagree like I have friends that live here they're pro guns they're like against abortion they're like against like marijuana legalization and it's fine we can still sit on the same dinner table and talk
yeah.
we can still play together but in Brazil it got some so I think you can say like polarize it that people like there's no
Yeah.
dialogue so what kills me the most is that the way people say things in Brazil they repeat so many times a lie that it becomes a reality in their heads at least so it goes like it doesn't make any sense. So it's like Bolsonaro, I was gonna say before, he gave a statement today like, oh yeah, so if we don't have like paper election here in 2022, it's for sure it's gonna be like a mistake. It's gonna be like robbed. But like he won on the electronic votes and he's
Yeah,
against
look,
electronic
yeah, I was gonna
votes.
say it was
He
electronic polls. I
and
was
then
in Brazil when he was elected, by the way.
and he says it was
I
robbed.
know
He
the
won. And it's like,
it's
dude,
this is the kind of stupidity. I think we need to wage a war against like absolute ignorance. You're allowed to be stupid, but there's a line
yeah.
you can cross. So I don't know if that's a hill that Brazilians would die on, right? Like,
I think it's
do you think
worldwide.
if they took away cerveja from people, like that
Oh,
would that be something that people Brazilians? Because I know Brazilians, the number one focus is happiness of family. God, happiness, family. Like let's put those three in the same tier, right? That's like primary values. If America is about democracy, right, and being American, right, then I think
yeah.
Brazilians is basically God, family, and happiness. Those are like the three
Uh,
same tier. If
uh,
for Chinese people, it's family and capitalism. They're really what it is. Everyone thinks we're a communist country. We fooled everyone. All right, pragmatism and basically capitalism and our family is basically pragmatism, right? And that's our religion.
yeah.
America is about being American and having a democracy, right? Everything else
Yeah.
comes afterwards. Brazilians, I think it's those three. I don't know if you agree with me or not.
I wouldn't say like religion because you have a lot of like candomblé religion, a lot of like African like religions in Brazil as
Everybody
well.
claims they're Christian in Brazil,
It's not. It's crazy because
right?
it's funny because a lot of people say like Brazil is majority Christian. It's not. Like I don't know.
No,
Oh,
it's have you
IBGE says the
seen
number
what
said.
people do? I don't people in Brazil. Okay, first of all, feijoada is the least Christian dish on earth. All right, you know why? Because it's non-kosher and not clean. All right, because it's pigs. Right? I'm sorry. If you ate feijoada before, you're going to hell, according to old Christianity. All right,
We eat a
and you
lot of
also
like
mix so
seafood
many
as
different
well,
foods.
right?
Yeah, you
Seafood
ate
as
quite a
well.
bit of fish. Tilapia. Tilapia is not clean. You're not supposed to eat tilapia. You're going right down to hell, right? Adultery, adultery, basically
Oh,
having sex before you're married. Good luck with that. Apparently, according to me, a lot of people Brazil, the first date sex is like it's like the majority, right?
yeah.
Right. You look at music videos, every seven deadly sin in the Bible is, and I grew up a Christian. All right. I went to Sunday school every day for 2.5 years of my life. That was how
Oof.
I learned English as a kid. All right. I know the Bible pretty well. And I know for a fact that the way people behave nowadays, everybody's going to hell. Every
Yeah.
single person, every single person is going to some form of hell. All right.
I would say
So
it's
I
more
will see
like
you all there.
I would say like it's a Brazilian commodity because like if you ask someone like, oh, are you religious? Yes, I'm Christian. Like, do you know what is Christianity? Like Christianism? I whatever. Like, do you know that? Like, because you have a
You know
tattoo? Oh,
who's
I have lots of them.
Jesus?
So like, are you like, oh, but I'm like a lighter follower? Like, how is that?
Yeah,
So
lighter fault. Yeah, good luck. Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
and there's even
Mm-hmm.
like the
Mm-hmm.
prejudice against like African like religion and why? Because like oh because they do this and do that like did you know about history like crusades
Yeah.
like
Okay, so let's just take away actually, in actuality, let's take away God from that conversation. Family and
yeah
happiness.
I wouldn't say like
Do you
I'd
think
say probably
Brazil? Yeah,
family would be like a big one but I don't know nowadays because I
yeah.
know that for example the group of my family got like separated because of like for the whole campaign
Mhm.
it was like oh Aunt A, Uncle B doing like Bolsonaro things posts,
Oh
going to like
God. Oh, I
it's a
know the
shame we
story
all
very
have.
well. I
Yeah.
know the story very
And
well.
then after like some like after he was elected, like Uncle C and Aunt D did like, oh, see, this is happening now. What is happening? And then the group got separated. I'm not even lying. That's serious. That's for real. This happened. And I wouldn't say, but like close family,
Oof.
I would say is a big thing.
Oops.
But like
Yeah.
I don't know, like
Okay,
Brazilian have
let's just say
traditions,
happiness.
so yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
happiness is what Brazilians chase the most?
Yeah,
Because
I would say
that's
that.
what I know Brazil as. It's like people can be happy when they have nothing in Brazil. That's what I always admire. I grew up in a culture where you were never happy.
Yeah.
Like real talk. This new year, I've realized that more than ever because I was in a spot where I was super unhappy. And for those of you guys who are just joining us or haven't really been kept up with what we've been up to, Vinny has suffered in the last year of knowing me a lot of my day-to-day depression of being, of basically what happened at the end of last year, right? So end of last year, broke up with my long-term girlfriend who I thought I was going to marry. I basically lost my grandfather, who I looked up to since I was a kid, and I have this. And last year was a big year for me because BBTV went public, and I've been with the company for a long time, and I sold my own company to the company. So, but that was at the end of the year. I had good news, and I feel accomplished, and I finished the journey that was 7 years. In the beginning of the year, Vinny can attest to this. I was a fucking mess. I was a emotional mess, and it takes some time to make those adjustments. But I feel like if I was raised with a different set of values that chases happiness as opposed to these fundamental, capitalistic values, as well as almost an urgency about the family values. Like in China, it's like, oh, if you don't get married, have a kid, you failed. You're a failure, right? No matter what you do, you're a failure, right? If I didn't chase these things, I don't think I would have been as upset. I think I would have found other ways to make myself happy. So as I'm learning more about Brazilian culture every year, that's one thing I realize is that the happiness is something to be admired. I
Mhm.
admire that part about Brazilian culture. And no, going back to the question, is this something if it affects everyone's happiness or the fundamental meaning of happiness, do you think that's because I know you guys had a bloodless revolution, just a couple decades ago, right? Um, do you think that is the line that Brazil is gonna hold?
Yeah, I would say if between like religion and family, I think like this would be like the most important for us. Like, but
Right.
I still think it's like a different line than the US because like I don't think it's gonna get even close to that. It might, but like I don't know. Like Trump has money, has like crazy supporters. I don't think there's like a Brazilian Bolsonaro fan that would like storm the Capitol to defend the president. Like I think there are
That's good.
supporters, but they're not
That's
like
that's that's a relief
fanatism. Yeah.
because I still want to go to Brazil. I still want to go to Brazil. I want to
Oh,
have fun. Maybe I'll meet the
hopefully.
woman. Maybe I'll meet the actual woman of my dreams there. Right? Maybe those three things can all happen. But that's the last bastion because this guy's basically a dumb version of Trump, right? Who's actually convinced a lot of smart, intelligent people because of obviously his financial policies. Majority
Yeah.
of them are doctors. That it's he's a good guy for them, right? He's gonna bring back old masculine values. There's nothing masculine about that guy. All right, look at his man tits. I swear, there's nothing masculine about him. His testosterone is in the negative level. All right, all
There,
right.
there was a video on January 1st. He was like he was on a boat. He was coming close to the beach where there were people like taking on the beach, and then he jumped to get close to them. It's funny
Jiggle,
because
jiggle,
you should
jiggle, 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 jiggle.
what?
Was his man boobs jiggling?
Oh no, he was
Jiggle.
wearing a shirt. He was wearing a shirt.
Oh, okay. Thank
He
God.
was
Thank
yeah,
God.
he was
Thank God.
swimming with a shirt. But it was funny because I don't know if you know he cannot do push-ups because he
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know. He tries to
Hold on.
show that every time. So apparently he's taking it seriously.
Is that
Yeah.
10?
Yeah,
That's
and apparently he cannot swim as well because he was swimming so
God.
funny and oh my god, man. But it's still like my point
Hold
is
on.
I you should I'm gonna send you the video after because yeah,
Is
more or
this how
less. I'm gonna send you the video later because like
okay,
my point
this
is
is how
I think it's like the end of this chapter is like closing, and the first chapter, the first ending chapter was Trump leaving, and I think hopefully Brazil's gonna follow, but I think it's gonna be a little bit different because like what I think
they're
we
gonna
should
get sanctioned by
recover. What?
They're gonna get sanctioned by Biden for sure if they continue to do these things in the Amazon, because
Hmm.
Biden's entire agenda is pro-environmental friendly stuff, right? And you can debate all the science about this as you want. He's gonna do this. His constituents want this.
Yeah, but like,
So if
how
the
influence
sanctions
is the
what
U.S. on
leads
Amazon?
the U.S. can sanction, and you want no, but if the U.S. sanctions Brazil's that's trade with everybody. And
I
if
don't
they
know.
pressure China to sanction Brazil, imagine if the U.S. and China stop trading with Brazil. How
No, I know
scary would that be?
it's gonna be crazy, but do you think
Do
can
you think
get
that
to
would
that?
influence
Because like,
if
I don't know.
he goes if this guy goes nuts? I don't know. Let's see, because he might quiet down. If he knows his time is, I don't think he's dumb enough to be that crazy about it, right? He knows his
Oh,
time
don't.
is up. He's gonna like no.
Trust me.
Is this? Oh God.
I
Oh
don't know.
God.
Like it's
I
crazy
don't
because
want.
like
I want. Yo, I have hey eyes. Hold on. Let me just reveal this before I get a
I
massive
do
amount of
too.
hate. Like, Jeff, yeah, Jeff, why are you shitting on Brazil all of a sudden? I thought you loved us. I love you guys so much that I have to. This matters to me. All right. I also have money in hey eyes as well. So I don't want anything to collapse. I just now that we see this collapse of the Trump administration, I'm actually hopeful. That's why I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
Right? There's some hope. If Trump, because right before the election, I was like, oh my God, they're running with Biden. Trump is going to win. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Biden can't even open his eyes. And then it happened. They won. So, okay, great. Now we got a guy who can't open his eyes. Let's see what happens. Right. But
Yeah,
it's,
for
it's
me
a little
like
bit better than somebody who's like,
the best thing that can come out of this because honestly, like maybe Biden is the bad guy as well. But like my point here, I'm hoping that people like start getting conversations again. So like you can talk to one side, you can listen to the other side, because like it became so like divided. Like, oh, you're this, you're that. Like I don't believe you. And then like I don't know if you feel the same, but like social media for me is a dangerous tool because like it gave voice to a lot of people that I know people are gonna hate me for saying this, but I don't think like some people should have that many influence. So it became like such a big information like hurricane, and like that everything's there and then you're just speaking what you want. So yeah, for me it's like influence is dangerous and social media give like stupid people a lot of influence. So I don't know, like
I
I
would a
feel
100% agree with you. Look at me, for
okay,
example.
okay,
I'm
because I was,
have some minor influence,
but
right?
that's my
Imagine if I
point.
was stupid and has super influence.
Like
And,
what kills me.
I hate both sides. I want to reveal this. I hate influencers on both sides,
If
right?
you're like extreme, one side is always bad. Going extreme
Yes.
right, extreme left, it's bad.
If you're advocating a witch hunt, we talking shit. We're not advocating for anything. We just want people to
Yeah.
make their own informed decisions. That's
Mhm.
my number one. That's my number one message: is make your own informed decisions. There's you have in the palm of your hands with this phone, with the phone that is in front of you. You're watching this on a phone. You have a phone nearby. You have the entirety of human knowledge. The
Right there.
entire from the beginning, from the alpha to the omega. If you know, you can have any book, right? You can have anything you want. And yeah, we're dumber than ever because we're
True.
not making informed decisions. We're not motivated. And I feel like in a world where people are like this, the more educated and more equipped you are with information, the better you're going to do. If you
True.
ever want to make money, if you ever want to become more successful, always do the extra research, always do the extra step. It's gonna pay off because everyone
And
else is
internet
doing
is
it.
fast. It takes like
Yes.
5 seconds.
Hey, yo, let's
You don't have to
okay,
go
you know
like
what?
through the for the first
Yo,
page like the.
do you know what the population of Azerbaijan is, Vinny?
No,
I
I
don't
have no
know the
idea.
population of
Let's find
Azerbaijan.
out.
Do you even know what Azerbaijan is? Azerbaijan is a
I
country, but
think
let's
it's
find
in
out the
Asia, right?
yes, that is correct.
There
Yes,
you
sir.
go.
Population of
See?
Azerbaijan is 9.981 million. Oh my god,
Holy.
to the 10,000th digit.
Damn.
The fifth digit. 5 figures. Get down to 5 figures.
And it took like 10
How fast was
seconds.
that? How fast was that? So I want to, after talking a little bit, after getting venting a bit, I do agree with you, Vinny. I think that it is an end of a chapter. Let's hope for the best. Let's believe in people. I'm also believing in those guys who have supported Bolsonaro. To be quite frank, I want them to come
Yeah.
around. We're coexisting in this world, right?
And it's
It's
not bad to
everybody
believe in the
thinks,
guy. That's the point.
yeah.
Like I might not
There's
agree
no
with you, but
other
it's not you're the bad person, I'm the bad person. We're just different
convo.
and we can
We're
live
just
with
different.
that. Yeah.
We can live with it. Exactly. Look at Vinny and I are quite different people, but we're also very similar. That's basically everybody is like that.
Yeah.
You're different but similar, right? Yeah. I'm glad we talked that out a little bit because I this is why the podcast is cathartic. It's because you get to get these information out, and whoever hears this, even if it's one person, hopefully it makes a positive impact,
and,
right?
and that's the point. Like I don't care like, oh, you're not talking to a million people. If I'm talking to one person and that person like can reflect on that and get better and like grow to be a better person, that's good. Because I'm totally against like, oh, you should listen to the older people. A young dumb people, sorry, I'm gonna rephrase that. A young dumb person become an old dumb person. So that's
Uh,
don't so
Amen to that. Oh my god.
don't be like, oh, because he lived like he's been 10 years in politics. If he was a dumb like young person in politics, he's gonna be like a dumb old person in politics. So that's my
Yeah.
point. If it's
He's
one
not he's
person that
not
we can change,
evolving.
it's good.
He's not evolving at all, right? And you know what the funny part I just realized is that when I was doing those motions, I probably jiggled my man boobs, and also I have no beard and no
Oh,
mustache.
come on.
So if you're a Bolsonaro supporter, I want to teach you how to insult people. All right, I'm gonna actually give you the step by step of insulting me for making fun of your guy. So what you do right now is you basically type this stuff out. You'd be like, this Chinese corno is saying all these things. Well, look at him. He has no mustache. He has low testosterone, and he has man boobs. Bolsonaro is the best. Write that insult, and you're actually playing on the same level. All right. I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
I want to put that out there because if you don't know how to insult, I want to make sure we're at least playing fair. Right. We're playing
sure.
basketball, and I have if you're 1.5 meters and I'm 1.8, I am gonna block you. I have long ass arms. All right. I'm
True.
gonna block. So you know what? Let's lower the net a bit so we both can dunk, right? Make it easier. So I'm lowering the net, writing an insult for you, and we're going to continue to do this every podcast. When I somehow offend a group that might not be able to insult me back properly, I will make sure. I'm making this promise to you, Vinny Matos. I'm making this promise to you, podcast.
Hmm.
I'll make sure I'll write out the insults for you so we can have a proper conversation. That's
But
how that's how you start dialogue.
do
Yeah.
you know something that 2020 taught me? It's like
What's up?
you should like give it back on the same coin you get it. So like if it's, I've received comments like, "Dude, you're doing this, this, and that." Like, "Fuck you," and they're like, "Dude, get out of here!" Like, nobody likes you. Like, get out of here. So you're not welcome
Nobody
here.
likes you.
So I learned like if people want to go like low, let's play it low. Like honestly, because I'm
Or
not gonna
if
be
they
like
want to go
physical
high,
fights. Yeah, let's go high. Yeah.
yeah. If you want to go high, I'll give you the words that you can use to insult me. I'll give you the situation so you don't have to think too hard. You know, make it easier.
I'm gonna make it easy for you to like insult me.
Yeah, make it easier to insult me
That's
so
your
that I can eat some.
lesson.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. And that's the positivity we want to bring. So 2021. Listen, hopefully this is behind us. Now, maybe in the next podcast we do in the next few days, we're going to be like, oh, so that escalated quickly, and then we're in nuclear war, right? Hopefully that doesn't happen. Knock on wood. What are some of your goals, Vinny?
Oh, to be honest, like I want to start working like out of home because 2020 in staying like 2020 inside the house, it's getting me crazy. And I don't know. I want to be able to see my family also. I know like Coronavac, the vaccine is coming, hopefully like sooner than later, but I don't know, it's been like I don't see my family in like more than a year already. It's insane.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, those are good goals to have for a
it's
year like
crazy.
this. I really hope you achieve them. I think you can. We're getting a vaccine pretty close in
Yeah, but
Canada,
Brazil's like a
right?
dark list. Do you know that Brazil is a dark list country in Canada? Because the numbers there
Yeah,
are so high.
because they don't have right now. This is the thing. I don't get it. I don't even want to. Now I'm depressed when I think. Every time I think about people not getting vaccinated, I start. Listen, guys. We,
People just wanna die.
oh,
Like or I don't know, like
if you're purely religious, let me talk to you from a religious mind. All right.
Ooh.
Everything on this earth, everything in this universe, if you're truly religious, you know that was not man-made, right? Was not devil-made. God's not testing us with this. God has better things to do. Everything is in God's grace, including science, including vaccines. The results of a vaccination, look at how thriving our population on the planet is, how many diseases that it prevented, right?
Yeah.
If you don't take the vaccine, you by definition are spitting in the face of God because he gave you a way to escape. He gave you a good choice to make, and you decide to choose the path of the devil by not taking the vaccination. That's
And
another way of thinking about it, right? Because if you truly believe in Jews, all right, he gives you everything. This conversation is brought to you by God. This podcast is brought to you by Jesus. No, Jesus didn't do it personally. It was just God. God is omnipotent and
Amen.
omnipresent. He can do anything. So the religious argument is out the window. All right. There's no devil testing you. Okay. That's not happening. All right. And then scientific evidence is there. So it's really my goal is to get vaccinated. That's my number one goal is 2021 is get vaccinated. All right. I'm not gonna try and skip the line. Essential workers first. I'm not gonna even
Yeah.
pay. Apparently, if you there's some ways that if you pay and you're in the right conditions, you could get vaccinated slightly earlier. But I'm just gonna follow whatever the government says, whatever the procedure is that we have in Canada, and trust in the consensus of those who are governed. So if the majority of people are in favor of something, then we follow flow, and that's how society goes on. And I do. This is one of the few years where I completely agree with you in terms of like goals, keeping them simple as those two things,
Yeah.
because we're already like you and I already have good paths of leveling ourselves up, at home, working out, studying stuff, making new content. We have this pipeline, right?
Hmm.
But that's not no goals around that. It's just continue the path, continue the flow. Seeing my parents is also something I want to do. I haven't seen them also in a year. So I feel like
Damn.
those are big goals for both of us. And it's slightly out of our control, but the best thing we can do, like you said, is do our own research, make sure that we're following the guidelines and trying our best to achieve those goals, right? And if we don't, thank goodness, at least there's telecommunication like WhatsApp
Yeah,
and video conferencing.
because it
Again,
was
like
like
that's one.
it was the saddest like New Year's because there was like nobody around, but we still could like FaceTime, we still like WhatsApp call, so it was
Yeah.
not that bad because it could be worse. But yeah,
Have you
like I
started
think
video gaming with your parents yet? I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Go with my parents because of the remote
really,
reading.
oh
Yeah.
no, no, my mom just she likes to do like crosswords, like puzzle with I don't know what the name of that.
You guys can, you can
There's
spend
one
time doing some
online,
cross.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can play that. You can play Pictionary, things like that.
Yeah, we talk like every single day trying to get like the head in the right place, but it's like
Yeah,
still
no,
insane
that's
because
good.
it's been like a long time. It's crazy. My English was
Yeah.
going away because it was like 1 year working from home in Portuguese with Brazilian people, and like I don't know if I can speak English anymore. So it's crazy.
Okay. Well, this is why we're bringing back the podcast, not only for the people, but also for not only for you guys who are watching or listening. This is for Vinny to practice English. So if you like
True.
Vinny, you want Vinny to speak English, you want Vinny to continue staying in this beautiful country known as Canada. Wait, that escalated quickly.
He's kicking me out. Okay, I'm gone.
I can't kick you out, but we don't have ice. We don't have something like ice in Canada. Like it's not
No,
that
yeah, there's
violent in Canada.
yeah, true.
They just send you a letter like, "Hey, you should probably get out."
Hey, it's
But
time to go.
whatever. Hey, it's time to go. But it's okay if you don't. All right, sorry to bother you. They
Yeah,
literally
if you
probably do
want,
say
yeah.
sorry. Probably do
Hi,
say
I don't want to
sorry to bother
bother.
you. Uh,
It's true. I think that's
yeah.
something that people mock Canadians about. It's like the stupidest things to get mocked by. Like, come on, you're being polite and people are mocking you for that. Like,
Treating you like people. How dare you treat us like
how
people?
dare you being? Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's just stupid. It's just stupid.
Well, speaking of stupid, it's time to end this stupid podcast.
Let's
Uh,
do this.
do this. Well, thank you guys for watching, listening. Hopefully, we didn't offend too many of you and lose too many of you guys. But we're gonna try to do this more often. We're gonna grab the mics, talk a little bit. We're gonna have little topics that we want to go over, and maybe even restructure the look of this a little bit this year. Let's see what happens, right? But hopefully, we can see you guys more often this year, and that's on me. All right, that's 100% on me. Vinny, as always, is punctual and beautiful.
I wish. And just
I
a
mean,
compliment. If we offended you, like, that's the point. And we can still be friends and we can still talk about it. Don't get offended.
we
Don't
can
have a
still be
pet
still
politician.
love. Even
Yeah,
though even though you make stupid decisions or we make stupid decisions or we both say stupid shit, we can still forgive each other. Right? That's the
and
number one.
laugh
That's
and have fun.
yeah. Actually, yeah, you know what? This is turning to the religious podcast because that's literally what the Bible teaches.
See?
At the
And
end
I
of
got you. Tell I'm
gotcha.
not
Checkmate
religious.
atheists. Checkmate religious people. Checkmate everybody.
There you go. It's for
All
you,
right.
religious people.
Valeo, Bejos, ciao. Now you say it
See
in
ya.
English. I said it in your
Oh,
language.
oh yeah.
Valeo,
See you guys.
ciao. See
Take
you
care.
guys later.
I was
Kisses.
just
Kisses.
checking
Bejos is
the.
not.
Okay.
Bejos is not. Yeah,
Kisses.
it's
See you guys
kisses.
later. Take care. Follow
Mm.
us on social media. See you next time.
Bye.